Welcome back to Spotlight, where we feature the University of Central Arkansas College of Fine Arts and Communication. I'm Donna Lampkin-Stevens. Today we have John Vanderslice, my friend from the Department of Writing, as well as Barclay McConnell, director of the Baum Gallery of Fine Art, to talk about really just a rock star of a residency coming up, Miranda July, who is an artist, a filmmaker, a writer. She's everything, and we're going to learn all about her coming up on Spotlight. Join us when we return.
The University of Central Arkansas offers programs you can't find anywhere else in the state.
Thank you.
Like digital filmmaking, an education that's helped me enter film festivals, and intern at a local TV station. UCA's given me school pride I can call my own, in a community that feels more like a family.
Action.
UCA put me and my education front and center. Learn how at uca.edu.
Barclay McConnell, director of the Baum Gallery of Fine Art, and John Vanderslice from the Department of Writing are here, and we're going to talk about quite an interesting residency. And let's just see. John calls Miranda July, who is a writer, filmmaker, and artist, one of the most inventive, provocative, and unusual literary voices our country has ever produced. All right, John.
All right. Yes, she is.
Tell us why you think that and what we can expect, because this is really more unusual than anything. I think it's safe to say it's the most unusual residency we've ever had.
Yes, in that she's known in different communities for different reasons, and then they embrace her and love her work. But I mean, you know her as an artist, and in the writing department we know her as a fiction writer. And students of mine who are film lovers know her as a director and an actress and a scriptwriter, and they're almost unaware of all her other identities. And it's amazing to anybody who could just sort of do these different genres really brilliantly, and with almost a little formal training too. She's just the pure original, and she doesn't let herself be held back by any kind of barriers, which is wonderful.
And most people would be thrilled to be known as an artist, or as a fiction writer, right, or as a filmmaker, and to have all three, and really to be really good at all three is very unusual.
It's amazing. She's amazingly gifted. I think she's a genius, really, in my opinion.
Okay.
And I'm really excited that she's going to come, and our students have a chance to see her and ask her questions. They've been reading her, in my fiction writing classes, they've been reading her fiction, and they're really interested in her stories and her story to the stories. You know, they want to know about her a bit. So
okay, let's back up.
Yeah.
So how did we happen to get Miranda July here?
Well,
and I think that started with you, John.
Right. Yeah, it started with the writing department. Every year, of course, we submit a proposal to the College of Fine Arts for recommendations for visiting artists, and we just last year, there's lots of writers I have in the back of my head that I like to bring to campus, and she certainly, for the last several years, has been one of them. I think I first was aware of her stories when I heard them on the radio. They've been performed in different Selected Shorts radio program by NPR. It's a very prestigious program. If your stories are read on that program, they're really heard throughout the country by millions of people. And another one called the New Yorker Fiction Podcast. I heard her stories read there as well. And then I read mine myself, and I was just even more impressed by her as a writer. So, and her voice is just so distinct as a writer. Her narrators are just very odd people that have these really interesting lives, and they're slightly bizarre. And I just love the stories. So she'd been in the back of my head for a while, and so I proposed to her. And I was really unaware of her identity as an artist and as a filmmaker, or just vaguely aware. It just wasn't even in my head. And then after we proposed to her, it turned out that a creative writing colleague at Hendrix had also, at the same time, had proposed to Hendrix that they bring her in. So Gail Seymour was working with Miranda July's Gail Seymour, who's the Associate Dean of the College of Fine Arts.
And Professor of Art.
Professor of Art. Was negotiating with Miranda July's agent and kind of worked it out that she would come both to Hendrix and to UCA. So it's going to be a very full week for her.
So Barclay, how did art get involved as well?
Well, we heard that she was coming, and I'd like to just point out as an aside, I wasn't aware of her writing work. I did know her film work because, and she's kind of an indie film star and all of that, and I was aware of her work as an artist. And it's really interesting that you say that how you describe her writing work, because from what I see in the film work and in the work as a visual artist, it's been very innovative. And if you have someone that is working in all these different genres and they're equally innovative, I mean, the visual arts, there's, like many other genres, people are always like, oh, there's nothing new to be said. And her doing some of the stuff that she has done in the visual arts that has been really edgy and interesting. Her collaboration with Harold Fletcher, who's another famous visual artist who did the work on the online exhibition and project that was called Learning to Love You More, which is one of her more famous visual arts projects. It is something that she did with the San Francisco Museum of Modern Art, and that is something that really hadn't been done before. And that was something entirely new, and it was exciting, and a lot of artists and people in the art world know about that. But we, the faculty who were the art faculty on the exhibitions committee, heard that she was coming, and we're saying, oh, she's going to be on campus and we should do something in the gallery that's related, or do something exciting related to it. And then we found out that Hendrix was also had been inspired in the same way. And so they had created a website based on Learning to Love You More that's called Guiding Us to You. It was what they called theirs. And they did a similar thing to what Miranda July and Harold Fletcher did, is create art assignments for people. And they have had a whole series of assignments that anybody in the public, not just in the local community and the whole world that sees this website, could look at this art assignment.
There's a writing assignment up there too. That's one of the
yes, they tied theirs. They specifically created assignments that were related to writing. They wanted this to also have a writing component. So almost every art assignment, even if it's visual art related, it has a writing component to it.
Wonderful.
Yeah, which is great to tie it in that way.
And I contributed to
Okay, tell us.
You did?
Okay, tell us what the assignment is first.
The one for UCA, it's assignment 6, and it is called Recollections Transformed. And the idea is that you come up with something that is a bad memory, something that you want to forget. I don't believe in regret, so I don't feel like it's something that I would want to forget, but that I might want to let the pain go from, or something like that. You could interpret it in different ways. But so you come up with, either you write it down, what it is you want to forget, or you come up with an object that is related to this, something that you want to forget, and bring it in to us. And what we do is we completely erase it. We white it out. And
you do the whiting.
We do the whiting out, or we had an exhibition reception, which you were there, where people could come and white their own out if they wanted.
So is that what you did?
Yeah. Well, no, I didn't bring anything actually. There wasn't anything so painful that I needed to wipe that out. I didn't think so.
So what did you contribute?
Oh,
can I ask?
What I contributed to the online gallery that Hendrix had established, and
which is a different assignment.
It was assignment. I think it was assignment 4. It was write your life story in 500 words, which is not many words to do your life story. So you got to find a unique approach to your life story. So that's what I did.
And I think you said Stephanie, your wife,
Stephanie
was going
did
to
contribute.
She did. Yes, she contributed that, and she also
to ours UCA.
To ours at UCA.
Oh, right.
Too.
Yeah, she brought something physical to the BOM to contribute, and she also wrote something for the Hendrix online gallery. So she's been involved.
So did Stephanie white it out herself, or did you?
I think she did white it out herself.
Do you remember what it was?
Well, she wrote something, and it was on a piece of paper about 8.5 by 11. And some people have written theirs on tiny pieces of paper, and some people have brought objects, and some people have written on objects, and there have been all kinds of things. And so we white them out, and then we put the person's name on it if they want it on it, or it can be anonymous. And then we're placing them in an installation in the gallery, but
which we're going to have some
pictures, some images of. Great. And then we're also photographing each individual object, and we send those over to Hendrix, and they're putting them on their website under our assignment.
So it's a real collaboration.
It is. And it's nice to be collaborating with Hendrix.
And with each other in our college. That's great.
And with other departments. So here we don't often do a lot of things with the writing department, and so this has been really fun.
Now I understand that the BOM exhibit was a little slow taking off.
Well, it was. There were only a few things at first, and so it wasn't that slow because it was a reception, and there were about 15 or 20 contributions, which it's nice, but it doesn't look like much when you've got it placed.
Sure.
But now we've had so many more, so
they're
it looks
rolling
really
in,
interesting.
and they're on view in the bomb.
They are on view in the bomb in Gallery 3, and they'll be up on view through the 20th.
February 20th.
February 20th.
How many pieces would you say you have right
now?
Wow, let's see, 40? Something like that, maybe. And we've had a lot actually turned in that we haven't finished painting to put out. So we're in the process of painting a whole group of them, additional group.
So it's going to go. So if you go today, you'll see something completely different a week from now.
Right.
Okay. So that's exciting.
Within a few days, there'll be about 80, I think. In there.
Oh, awesome! Great.
Good.
Yeah.
Okay, John, tell us about her activities. And she's going to be on campus at Hendrix first as a writer.
I think she's mainly there as a writer, and the reason why I say that is I know that's Ty Jager, who's a creative writing professor at Hendrix, and who wanted to bring her there. That's how he was mainly interested in her, and he was concerned that she really be allowed to be a writer at Hendrix, and we not steal her identity entirely as a writer.
Okay, so we have a little territorial.
Yeah, but no, it's worked out fine. When she comes to UCA, she's going to be meeting with the creative writing students in a kind of Q&A small group format on the 13th.
Thursday the 13th.
Thursday the 13th from 10:50 to 12:05. And then she's going to get a break and
maybe go to the Bomb Gallery.
Maybe go to the Bomb Gallery. Yes.
I hope so.
Yeah, I'm certainly going to suggest that we do that.
Great.
I think she'll want to. I mean, how could she not want to do that? And of course, she'll have dinner with faculty, creative writing faculty, and then she's going to do a public presentation in the evening. It's at 7:30 in the College of Business. There's an auditorium in the College of Business building, and I think it may very well she'll just be reading one of her short stories, but it's up to her if she wants to do something.
She could bring
else.
in some art. We don't know.
I mean, her original background is as a performance artist, so she's used to being on stage and doing various things. So. I'm not 100% sure what she's going to do, and I don't think I want to know. I want to be surprised, actually.
Sure.
But I'm excited just to see her and see her read. I think whatever she does will be good.
Now, you mentioned earlier that she has a little bit of a unique stage presence.
Yeah.
Talk about that a little bit.
Well, I mean, she's as we've talked about, she's a filmmaker and an actress, and she acts in her own films, and so she's used to being on camera. But my sense of her on stage is that she's kind of slightly anxious about it, and but it's part of the charm that she has too as a performer. And she always pulls it off. She's been doing it for quite a long time, but she feels like a very real person. You do not get any sense from her at all that she's Hollywood, even though she does live in L.A. And she's not really part of the film business, although she's a filmmaker. She just is her own self, and it seems like no matter what happens to her, she's always Miranda July.
And that level of anxiety, you see that in her films. I mean, if you've watched The
Talk
Future,
about her films, Barkley.
I don't know a lot about her films, so I'm no expert. But I did watch The Future, knowing that she's coming. I went and I had seen her in some things where she played small parts, but she is in that. She directs and acts in the film called The Future, and a lot of it is about sort of and not only anxiety-ridden characters, but our anxiety-inducing culture.
Right.
So,
and let me point out, there's actually a book that came out of, in an odd way, came out of the movie The Future, in the sense that while she was writing the screenplay, she was encountering a lot of problems in terms of deciding how it would finally go, and she pushed through several drafts, and each time thought she had it, and then the next day decided no, that wasn't it, and so finally she just started procrastinating, and she started obsessively reading the Penny Saver magazine, and she got really interested in some of the advertisements in the Penny Saver, and so she started calling people up and saying, can I interview you about your life and about this object you're trying to sell and why you want to sell it? And so if people said yes, she would show up at their house with a photographer and another person who's just there to sort of, for protection's sake, and had these long interviews with a number of people. And then she eventually published a book called It Chooses You, which is kind of a mixture of these interviews and photographs of the people with sort of a narrative from her as to how this was helping her work out the script for the future, and how really by the time the interviews were over, she had figured out how she wanted the movie to go,
Wow.
and she actually used a guy she interviewed in her movie. He's
I
a
know
real
which
life
guy you're talking
yeah,
about.
Joe, I think is
Yes.
his name. Yeah, and he unfortunately died.
Oh, he was
soon
elderly.
after- yeah, an elderly man. He died soon after the movie was finished shooting, but she became very close to him in the process of interviewing him
How interesting.
about the things that he was selling. And so the book it's kind of about the future, but it's also about the penny saver, and it's about Miranda July finally. And yeah, I feel like you learn a lot about her and her personality and her life there in California through that book.
Fascinating.
Yeah.
What about her art, Barclay? Would you say that that's kind of the same, persona or whatever that comes through in her art? If she's sort of similar as a writer and as a filmmaker?
The art that I'm most familiar with of hers in terms of visual art is this project, the Learning to Love You More project. And she did it in collaboration with another artist. And really it was more of something that asked other people to make art. It wasn't really art. The project
less personal to
itself
her.
was her, yes, the
Okay.
project itself was the artwork. And it's this online collaborative exhibition is what it was. So it really wasn't like a painting that she made or
Right.
anything like that. It was, they came up with the prompts is what they came up with. So it was more of a project, it was more of a community. There are more and more artists, and especially performance artists like she is, that are pushing the boundaries of what a genre is. And in this specific case, they're asking the whole community to create this artwork. Instead of creating themselves, they're creating the parameters.
I see.
So
I
it's
see.
What's interesting to me about that is that she kind of did the same thing with independent filmmakers early in the OOs. Before she had made any of her feature-length independent films, she had made a bunch of short films, and what she did was she asked other independent filmmakers to kind of give her copies of their shorts, and she put them on one, I think it's probably like a VCR cassette, and just distributed that among everyone who contributed, and then finally also started distributing them among other people. So developing this, and it was women filmmakers in particular. She was trying to promote the idea that there are a lot of independent female movie makers out there that need to get exposure, and it sort of made a name for those people, and it sort of made a name for her as well.
And as I understand, that's how she began her career.
Right.
And it's compiled video cassettes. So
Right.
it was that
Right.
era.
Right.
So, okay. And let's see. 2004, named #1 in Filmmaker Magazine's 25 New Faces of Indie Film. 2005, released her first feature-length film, Me and You and Everyone We Know, which won numerous awards at Sundance. So quite the Renaissance woman, I guess.
Absolutely, yeah.
She is.
Yeah, very
Now,
much
Barclay, do you know her? Have you been around her before? Have you
In person?
Yes.
No,
So
never.
This is going
no,
to be
no,
your
this
first.
is exciting.
Okay.
And I have to say, I doubt she's ever been to Arkansas before either. So,
Right.
Right.
It should be exciting for her and for us,
We may wind up in her next project.
Oh,
Maybe. Well, it seems like
that's
film's getting hot in Arkansas,
yeah,
actually.
that's
though.
true. That is true. Yeah.
Okay, so what are the writing students, particularly the MFA students, what have they done in preparation of her being here?
Well, this is her book of stories called No One Belongs Here More Than You, which won the Frank O'Connor International Award for short story collection. So, I mean, she's been awarded all over the place for everything she does. But it's a wonderful collection of stories. And I'm teaching an advanced fiction writing workshop for my MFA students this semester. And so we've been reading most of the stories in this book and talking about her and as a model for fiction writing. So they're real excited that she's coming, of course, because now they can meet the writer himself.
Right,
So,
right.
so they are certainly going to be there for her Q&A on Thursday afternoon, and they want to be there for her presentation as well. But yeah, so they've been getting to know her as a fiction writer really well, and not only my MFA students, but I've had my Introduction to Creative Writing students read some of her stories, and my undergraduate fiction workshop read some of her stories. It's something that actually we've talked about in the writing department, how when we bring writers here, it's really not enough just to tell our students, hey, this is an important writer, you need to come and hear them. We need to expose the students to the work of the writer. So we have been actively, consciously trying to assigned books by the visiting writers to have the students kind of own the residency more than they have in the past. And I think it's going to work really well with Miranda July, because they're really interested in her as a writer and as a person. So
how about art? Can you tell, is there much buzz in the art
There
world?
is some buzz.
Okay.
You know, I don't know that we can integrate it in the way that you have. I mean, we don't have, most of the art history we teach is not contemporary.
Right.
And so it would be awesome if we could say, you know, have them studying Miranda July before, you know, all the art students, but, you know, not all of them are in art history classes at the same time. There's, you know, that's a little bit tricky, but it would be nice if we could involve them more. But I do think we have an engaged group of art students, and they come to things. You know, when we have artists in residence and things like that, they come. So I think they'll participate in the Miranda July stuff, even though it's not being brought by the art department, it's being brought by writing.
And that brings the point, this is open. These classes are open, they can come, everybody can come, public, students. And
we'd be really excited if the art students want to come over and hear talk in the Q&A.
Oh, great.
And certainly the public performance too as well. Yeah.
Then I will mention that. And also part of the reason we created the installation in the gallery is to get people to sort of understand the style of work. You know, it was something that was inspired by some of her previous work, so that they could sort of wrap their head around it before she
because it is completely different.
This is different, a new, and it's also a little bit complicated. It's required, you know, even in describing what the project was. You know, people have very short attention spans, and a lot of people didn't read through, you know, what the project is. And so we made it shorter and shorter, and then people started participating. It was kind of funny.
Okay, so her exhibit, or the one inspired by her has been on view in really the January exhibit.
January 16th.
And it's been growing since then. So you had when you had the reception, there was not much there.
There was nothing there.
Nothing there.
Nothing. It was just a start with the opening reception.
Are you getting more traffic in?
We are. I mean, we have a lot of regular traffic in the gallery, and we have a lot of class tours. A lot of people like to bring their classes and see what's in there, because they have realized once they brought one class tour, they've started, you know, coming every semester, because, you know, there's always something interesting in there.
Something new.
Right. And this is something unusual. So people will come in, and then it's, you know, the installation is on the floor in the center of one of the galleries, and they're like, what is this? You know, and we explain to them. There's signage that explains as well. But,
and do we say that she's going to be here on February the 13th?
I do tell the tours. Yes,
good,
absolutely.
Good. So,
and I describe to them, you know, who she is, what she does, because, you know, we had, for example, a group of freshmen that were in there yesterday, and they hadn't heard of Miranda July, and I'm like, well, you know, Google her, and they pulled their phones out right then, and they're Googling her up. It was great. So, and they were impressed. They were suitably impressed, and, you know, they might come, hopefully.
Good.
Now, John, it's been a little different this year. We had, the writing department has sponsored 2 residencies, Damien Eccles and Miranda July, so 2 really biggies.
Yes, yeah, absolutely.
So tell us about how this year has gone, and I mean, Miranda July's not here yet, but you're...
Right, well, no, we've been really excited about how it's gone. I mean, the Damien Eccles visit was terrific. We got a great crowd at the Reynolds. We don't normally have big enough crowds for writers that they need to be at the Reynolds, but certainly he did need to be there, and it went very well. It was just a great evening. And he also met with our writing students earlier in the day, a big crowd of students. They really got a lot out of his visit. And Mark Spitzer, who's the editor of Toad Suck Review, kind of worked up, because while he was talking with the students, they were kind of interviewing him at the same time. So there's an interview with him in the current issue of the Toad Suck Review.
Which is about to be launched.
Right. The issue is actually out.
Okay.
We've mailed out the issue to contributors and subscribers and put it in writing department mailboxes. So it's out. So that went great. That went as well as we possibly could have hoped for. So, and then to have Miranda July come as well, who's just so different from Damien Eccles, completely different life, different talent, all very different, but equally well known. So I hope to say it went really well, but I don't know yet. It's next week.
I think this is going to be just an amazing opportunity for collaboration. Again, not just between these 2 departments and my department, film, as well, but with Hendrix as well. I mean, I think this is going to be, you know, something that we haven't seen before.
Yes, that's true.
Really exciting all around.
So they just show up at, give us the details again on the.
Okay. Yeah, she will be in the writing building, which is Thompson Hall, in room 331 on Thursday the 13th from 10:50 to 12:05. And that's who she'll be doing a Q&A with students there.
And the public could come.
Yes, public is allowed, certainly,
Okay,
yeah.
okay.
I hope there's enough space for everybody.
That'll be a good problem if we have that.
But in the evening at 7:30 in the College of Business auditorium, she'll be giving a presentation that certainly is open to anybody and everybody who wants to come and see her.
And in the meantime, if one happens to be in the Baum Gallery,
yes,
we might see her.
Right, and it's what we have in the Baum, like I said, is up through the 20th, and then the Baum is open every day, 10 to 5 weekdays, 10 to 7 on Thursdays, and then on Sundays 1 to 5.
And you mentioned that this exhibit is really going to live online.
Oh yes.
Talk about that.
So. Even though there won't be a physical installation of the work in the gallery after the 20th, there will be the online exhibit, and people can continue to contribute if they want. I think Hendrix is planning to leave all of these assignments up for several years.
And the website is hendrixmurphy.org /guiding us to you.
Yes,
okay?
I mean, people can Google Guiding Us to You and it'll come right up.
Okay. Very good. Well, thanks so much for joining us. Good luck on this collaboration. I think it's going well, swimmingly so far. And we will have you back next time.
Great.
For another another exciting project. We'll be back in a moment.
Hi, I'm Bruce Adolph. You probably know me as the piano puzzler on public radio, but I'll be here in Conway for a big fundraiser on March 21st. Bravo, it's called. Fundraiser for the students of the College of Fine Arts and Communications. There'll be cocktail party, dinner right here on the stage of Reynolds, live piano puzzlers, and much more. I hope to see you there.
For more information about the programs and people featured on the show, call the College of Fine Arts and Communication at 501-450-3293 or check us out on the web, www.uca.edu/CFAC. And we're also on Facebook. I'll be back again next time on Spotlight, so please join me.